quorum, so we'll call the planning commission meeting to order. Would help. How's that? There you go.
It's just not close enough to you.
How's that? There we go. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Tom Witherspoon,
Yes.
Michael Moore,
Present.
Nancy Pierce. Here. Jeff Hintz.
Here.
Brad Brune, Amy May, and Michelle Cook are excused.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes from June 23, 25?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 23rd, 2025.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, so there are two opportunities to speak to this commission tonight. One of them is public comment. That has to do with anything you want to talk about. And the other one is public hearing items under 5A and B. So if you'd like to talk about 5A and B, hold off and wait till we get to that part. But if you have general comments, we're going to open the floor to public comment right now. For general comments, we have citizens going to have 2-minute opportunity to address the planning commission. You need to come up to the microphone up here in the front, give your name and address, and you have up to 2 minutes to say anything you want, actually.
Helen Knoll.
Helen Knoll, did you want to address where are you, Helen? Okay, so you want to wait to the other one? All right, and Wendy, you also signed up. Did you want to wait to the other one? Wendy McKelvey? Come on up.
Ms. McKelvey, if you would have your comments to item 6A, being that's the committee appointments as part of public comment, but then if you would do your other comments as a part of the public hearing
I'm
process
not going to do them both
for
at the
5A
same
and
time.
B. Okay.
No, I'm more concerned about committee appointments.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Your hair's different. I hardly recognize you. Okay. Wendy McKelvey, 4825 Richmond Drive in Caledonia. I'm here to talk about the Plan Commission's makeup, and that is the people that are on it. I have nothing against any of you, but what I'm disturbed about is there's not much representation of anything in the rural area. And I know from Fran, I'm kind of here because she can't be here, that I would say she mentioned 6 or 7 people to me that have good backgrounds. They have backgrounds in government, they have backgrounds in business, and they have also rural interests that were suggested for the Plan Commission, and none of them were called even talked to. And I just find that pretty reprehensible, because this village there's more out rural area in here than we have industrial and business. And there should be at least equal representation on the Plan Commission. So that's my comment.
Are you talking about the plan commission or the special committee?
Both.
Okay.
Okay.
Wendy, for the record, I will tell you that Fran gave me a list of nominees. I called every one of her nominees. So if she says I
she
didn't.
checked with people. Well, did you talk to them though?
No, a lot of them did not reply.
Okay, but all right, I can pass that on, but
Mhm.
perhaps you could have tried a little harder,
Oh, thank you, Wendy. Thank you for your time.
or send them a letter.
I wasn't given addresses, Wendy. I was given names and phone numbers.
Well, I know, but it didn't seem like there was a lot of effort put into it, Tom.
Thank you, Wendy. Anybody else for public comment?
Nope, not signed up anyway.
Okay. We'll move on to new business, public hearing, and possible action on items set for public hearing. We're going to do 5A and B together. A is a comprehensive plan use map amendment review. Consider an amendment to the village's land use Plan map as part of the multi-jurisdictional comprehensive plan for Racine County, 2035 plan for parcels located along Douglas Avenue and Botting Road west of We Energy's power plant, encompassing approximately 244 acres, changing the land use category from agricultural, rural, residential, and open land to low-density residential to transitional light industrial. I don't think I need to read all the parcel numbers here, but also B, rezone review of request to rezone 244 acres covering multiple parcels located along Douglas Avenue, Botting Road, west of We Energy's power plant from A2 agricultural, M1 to, and light manufacturing district, and those same parcel numbers. Mr. Wagner, would you like to enlighten us on those items?
Before we go to my presentation, if you would please open up the public hearing so that all, everything that I share will be part of the
Very
official
good.
record.
So we will open the public hearing on these two items. And now, Mr. Wagner, would you like to?
Yes, thank you. Just making a note of opening of the public hearing. As you introduced the topic, this is, there's two requests being made by the applicant. That one is being the land use amendment on the site that I'll bring up on the location area up on the screen. The areas highlighted in red are the 244 acres you mentioned in your introduction. Currently, the land use category, there's three different categories on these parcels. There are the agricultural, rural residential, and open lands. There's a section of low-density residential in the southeast corner of this area, and there's also isolated natural resource areas. The applicant is not asking that the areas that are identified as isolated natural resource areas to be changed to the transition light industrial category that the village board adopted earlier this year, addressing the ability for the village to allow for data centers within the village. And so I just wanted to point that out. There are isolated natural areas and identified on the land use plan. Those areas are not going to be changed as part of this land use request. As indicated in the report, showed where the abutting land uses are around the property. Included also in your report was a concept development plan. Tonight, deliberation from the Plan Commission shouldn't be focused on the concept plan as much as whether the use or the land use amendment is a suitable location in the village. One of the things that is required by state law is we have smart growth that says that any rezone request has to be consistent with the land use category in your land use map. That's part of your comprehensive plan. That is why there are two requests this evening. The first part is requesting the land use amendment to allow for transition in light industrial uses in this particular area. If the Plan Commission were to go forward with a recommendation on that, then the subsequential 5B, the rezone request, would be under consideration to change the zoning districts of all of these parcels from A2 agricultural to M1 light industrial, light manufacturing district. With that said, I will stop there and allow the applicant to provide any information regarding this proposed request.
I just want to add one thing, Pete. The way this is set up is if the applicant does not go through, it reverts back to the original land use plan. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, on that. One of the things that are included in the resolution, if we're to be considered, is language that gives authority for the village to revert the land use category back to agricultural and the low residential district if a data center is not a project for this area. In addition, there is an Exhibit B in your report, a list of conditions that the applicant would have to meet in order for the M1 zoning to remain in the M1. If the applicant does not meet those criteria, the zoning of all the parcels remain A2. So if the development doesn't go forward as a data center, the land use category or the zoning goes back to A2, stays A2. It doesn't go back, it stays A2. And it will remain A2 until such time they meet the criteria that's in Exhibit B. And then the village will retain the right to amend the land use plan to return it back to its original land use category as it stands today. Is there anything I'm missing in that explanation?
Just a couple of clarifications. Attorney Elaine Ekus, Village Attorney's Office, as a part of the process and the procedures for the consideration for the items that are in front of the Plan Commission, the first one is the Comprehensive Plan Amendment, and the actual action ultimately by the Plan Commission on that request to change the land use category would be action on a resolution providing a recommendation and report to the village board on whether or not the land use category should be changed. So after the public hearing, after the Plan Commission has an opportunity to deliberate, that is the action item that would be on the comp plan. That sets the stage for an action on the application to rezone. So there's not a similar resolution. The action from the Plan Commission on the rezoning application after the public hearing, after the Plan Commission has an opportunity to ask whatever questions they might have, the action would then be by a motion. That motion would be either to approve the rezoning request or to deny the rezoning request. In the packet that was provided to the Plan Commission, there are proposed conditions, and as Pete has indicated, the staff report has a recommendation that if there were to be a motion to approve, that motion would be subject, the rezoning would be subject to certain conditions that would have to be fulfilled in order for the M1 zoning to attach. Those conditions are draft conditions for consideration by the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission, in their ultimate decision, could incorporate those conditions in the form proposed. They could modify those conditions by adding or deleting other conditions. So that is up for discussion tonight. That's not set in stone, but that would be a motion. It would be a motion for conditional zoning, which is a little different than other rezonings that have come before the Plan Commission and the board, but is allowable by law so that you can impose conditions on rezoning. And we can certainly walk through what those conditions are in draft form when we get to that point as well.
Thank you, Elaine.
You're welcome.
Would the petitioner like to? Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, members of the Plan Commission and members of the public. My name is Rich Brittingham. I'm with Dewberry Engineers representing the applicant here. I want to thank you for having me here tonight, and most importantly, I want to thank the public for coming out. One of the favorite parts of my job is coming to jurisdictions and speaking to both elected officials, but it's most fulfilling when members of the public take interest in what's going on in their community, and seeing the turnout tonight, like this certainly is one of those jurisdictions. In almost every instance, when the public cares and the public takes time out of their busy lives and their beautiful summer nights to come out to a discussion like this, the projects always end up better. So I want to thank you for coming tonight, and hopefully we can answer some questions for you. I feel bad with my back to you because you're the ones that want to hear from me, but I also don't want to necessarily turn this around. So again, thanks for having me here tonight. Pete gave a good summary of the technicalities of this application, its location, sort of the history of the land use amendment that has been approved and the zoning ordinance amendment that was approved earlier this year. And that's really, sorry, clicking quicker than I anticipated. That's what I want to focus on, is why we are here tonight. So in the last fall, there was a zoning ordinance amendment, as you're aware, that modified the language for the definition of warehouse use, and it allowed for data center uses to be included within the warehouse use. Soon thereafter, in January, the comprehensive plan was amended to create the Transition Light Industrial District. Core use in that district is data centers, as well as some other complementary and conditional uses. And I'll touch on this a little bit later on, but there was some thought put into this about the design characteristics of a transition light industrial district. Open spaces, buffers, screenings, compatible building heights, things that, as the applicant, we understand and respect and are looking forward to hearing from the public and incorporating those details to fulfill the goals of the comprehensive plan as details come forward later on in the site plan process, if this were to be a successful application. This is a good summary of that. I know you all may not be able to read this on the screen, but this is from that staff report back in January, talking about the benefits of the creation for the Transition Light Industrial District, the Transition Light Industrial category. You know, buffering between the heavy industrial uses, creating balanced economic opportunities for development as you guys move forward. The second piece about why this property is, so those changes that the village board adopted have opened up the door to explore data center development. The property specifics and the reason we're here on the 244 acres are really twofold. One, this letter was circulated to the village staff and I believe the Plan Commission and the village board back in May from ATC. ATC is the infrastructure provider who handles a lot of the transmission infrastructure across the region. And in order to meet existing demands and loads, they need to do some upgrades on existing lines in the region and in fact actually add additional lines in certain segments. You can't see it very well on this graphic, but you can hopefully a little bit better here. This is the assemblage, the 244 acre assemblage. The darker hatched area that runs through the center of the property east to west is the existing transmission line that bisects the assemblage. The lighter shaded area is the proposed additional transmission line that is proposed by ATC to crisscross that property. So you're looking at an ultimate condition of about 500 to 600 feet of transmission line easement. That certainly changes the character of that assemblage. It already has a little bit of an industrial character with the surrounding, so certainly the infrastructure to the east, the infrastructure on site, but when we're doubling that transmission line infrastructure on this property, certainly changes the character and makes it suitable for the kind of uses that are envisioned in that transition light industrial district. Oops. The second component here, as I alluded to, those lines are connected to the Oak Creek Power Plant. This is just to the northeast of the assemblage. We have the Oak Creek Power Plant that was initially constructed in 1951 and has been expanded and changed and evolved over those 70 years. And then, of course, the landfill that's been there a little over 30 years or so, directly to the northeast of this assemblage. So we have this industrial nature to the east, we have expanding industrial infrastructure on this property, and we have new land use category that encourages data centers as a core use. And that brings me here in front of you today on behalf of our client. The requests formally were summarized by staff, but it's a change from agricultural to the transition light industrial land use. You can see that in green. And then zoning from the A2 to the M1 district. While we don't have a lot of details about our development, and there was an illustrative plan that was included in our submission, and I'm happy to talk about that a little bit further if anyone has questions. It purely is illustrative. There's so much unknowns about how this will evolve and how the buildings will fit, what kind of technology will be used. But what we do want to commit to are the things that are important, and they were defined in the language of that comprehensive plan amendment. Those things I alluded to earlier: setbacks from existing residential neighborhoods, screening from adjacent uses. And that's why we've highlighted on our application formally our development area. And I show here the approximate setbacks from adjacent properties. To the northwest, 500 feet. To the southwest, 1,500 feet. And then to the southeast, there's 500 feet to the roadway, 1,000 feet to the roadway, and a little over 400 feet to the that interior parcel. The northeast, excuse me. You'll note that on the northeast boundary of the assemblage, our setbacks are right up to the roadway as permissible by the zoning ordinance. Because of the adjacent landfill and power plant use, the compatibility there is different, and it's prescribed in the comprehensive plan amendment for different types of setbacks. So that's where we sit today. That's the level of detail that we've come forward with. We're trying to work with the community, work with staff to answer any questions that you may have, and come together to explore potential development on this property. There was some discussion about the conditions of approval. We received those late last week, and we are respectfully request that this public hearing remain open until your next meeting in the end of August, because we'd like to work both with you, if you have any specific questions, with the village attorney, and with ultimately my client, to come forward with conditions of approval that are amenable to everybody, and that may include some suggestions from the public here behind me today. That concludes my presentation.
So you'd
and
like to not finalize this tonight, you'd like to bring it back? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we are very gracious of the public's time here and happy that they're here and would love to answer any questions they may have. But we don't feel it's appropriate to rush into a vote when the conditions of approval are fairly new both to us and to you. And if we want you to be able to take time, put thought into it, have a dialogue with us, have dialogue with staff about what those conditions are, and that we can come together over the next few weeks before your next meeting to come together with conditions of approval that are amenable to all parties.
So because it's a public hearing, we'd have to delay a month. It'd be what, August 24 or 25, is that right? Is that right? Is that amenable to you?
That is amenable to us.
All right.
That's
So we
actually,
will-
it would be our preference, because again, we don't take it lightly that this is a request that, poses a lot of questions to everyone in this room. And those conditions of approval are really the guiding conditions, as the village attorney mentioned, that are going to shape how this development occurs. And so we don't know that it's necessarily appropriate to rush forward on that. If anyone has any questions or opinions as to how those should be shaped.
Well, I have a feeling you're going to hear some opinions tonight, so.
Looking forward to it.
Bear with
That's what we're
us
here for.
And just listen to us and take it under advisement. Thank you very much.
Sure. Should I stay up here for questions,
you
or is that later?
Later. So I open the meeting to public comments. I'm sure some of you have a few. We have a couple of you already signed up. Wendy McKelvey was first. Wendy, would you like to? Ted Vescule, Botting Road? I'm sorry, Ted, did I mispronounce your name?
Vascule. I think, did we work a funeral together?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. I recognize you. Yeah.
Nice to see you, Ted.
So, I mean,
You
I
look
guess.
different out of uniform though, so.
Sorry, can you spell your last name for me?
V as in Victor,
President, can you have an address?
Oskuil. And I live at 7821 Botting Road with my grandmother, who's also here. And I know, I'm not, I guess, super familiar with the history of the area, but I've certainly had a stake. I've lived here for the last 8 years. And I guess, like, my opinion is, I come from a place, Marietta, Georgia, that developers have certainly gotten their hands into. It used to be more rural. I know the question of rural interest has already been raised at this meeting. And I hope that's, gets represented here today and a month from now, I guess, as well. But basically, I mean, there's already a lot of development. I mean, for something like a data center, there's empty warehouses all over the highway, everywhere you go. And I don't really see the benefit of, developing this area where people used to live. Like, I think plenty of people were removed. 1 or 2 remain there. But I know that's still has left a bad taste in the mouth of this community. And I'm not super connected with anybody here, but I have a feeling that, that I'm not the only one with that opinion.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Barbara Hugner, Foley Road? Hi, Barb. Oh, don't do that. You'll be fine. You're amongst friends. Come on.
Sure. Okay, Barbara Huger, 8741 Foley Road. And obviously, I want it to stay the way it is right now. But my main concern, since I worked about 15 years ago or so on the molybdenum, I can't even say it now. See, I'm so nervous. We used to call it Molly for short. The contamination in the water and trying to prove it was We Energies or not. And it was inconclusive, but in all my research and working with some experts from the area, doing a lot of reporting at that time, I am mostly concerned about the area and our wetlands. You are butting up on county line. There are 2 wetlands, one on each side of the road. And at the end of Running Horse, there's another wetland. These are used for cleaning water, basically a wetland. And the scientist, of course, can get into it better than I ever could. But I know every time a house has come into the area, the well's changed. So we're talking, of course, water deep down. And we know from the research years ago that the top water flow goes west to east. So We Energies complained no contamination coming to our homes, and testing was being done. And we did find out that the water flow underneath, deep down, is east and goes west. So things from that area can come to our wells. So if you're going to be digging deep holes, we got a chance of changing the levels of our wells yet again. If you're going to be putting in a lot of blacktop, cement for buildings, taking up acres with buildings, the runoff is going to be different. Parking lot runoff can contaminate the wetlands. And what was the other thing I was thinking of? Oh, and if the area is so large with cement blacktop and there's not enough water going into the ground, the wetland can again disappear. So it's either contaminated or possibly disappear. So that's my main concern.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you very much. Sandy?
You did well.
Sandy, also on Foley Road, Sandy Welcher? Did I mispronounce it? Hi, Sandy. I did mispronounce your name, didn't I?
Sandy Welcher,
Yeah.
8804 Foley Road, Caledonia. I'm totally against this. I want the community to remain just the way it is. I don't want to look out my living room window and see a building. I put up enough with the electric company. There's going to be more traffic and everything else that goes on. I own a 55-acre horse farm, and in the last year, I can't tell you how many times I've been asked to sell my property for solar panels and everything else. So I want the community to remain the same. Do not rezone it.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sandy. Let's say Vanessa. Vanessa Vanderbrook? Vanessa?
Oh, that's the next one. Vanessa Luther.
Vanessa Luther, sorry.
I thought I did. Anyway, Vanessa Luther, I actually live at 8104 Christie Circle. Short. Vanessa Luther, I live at 8104 Christie Circle Drive. I own the property at 8907 Foley Road. And I believe that this development is not good for the environment. We have been losing more and more open land with all the houses that are being built right now out on the Foley Road area. And as Barb Hugier has said, she is my neighbor, our wells have horribly changed. Also, the drainage has changed in my hayfield because of all this. We also could lose, and I also represent the Caledonia Conservancy. Caledonia Conservancy could be affected by this. We could lose horse trails. And I would like to ask the people who are putting this in, are you going to offer, if this goes through, are you going to offer walking, biking, and horse riding trails on this property to open it up so people can use it, or are you going to close it off to concrete? Think about this is a country area, and we would like to keep it as rural as possible. And I have to agree that there is so much more traffic now from the power plant in the last 5 years that you can't even walk safely on the road. How can you're going to put more people in there, we're going to have more traffic. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Valerie Vander. You don't want to talk? You were the first one here tonight, and you still don't want to talk?
Vanessa said it all.
All right, thank you, Valerie. Diana Leszek?
Lesson Jack.
Lesson check?
She's in the back.
I'm Diana Lessenjack, 4421 Harvest Lane. And I wish the town boards of the past could be here tonight because our planning commissions and our town boards have let us down in the past with some very spotty industrial zoning along Douglas Avenue. And you only have to drive down Douglas Avenue to be able to see it. Those places where spot zoning has been allowed are basically eyesores. They may be in business, they may be out of business, but they really don't belong. Right now, Douglas Avenue running north to south from the county line is actually quite a pretty corridor. You can't see the We Energies buildings. They're invisible. They're behind the ash hills, but darn it, the ash hills don't look that bad. And there are nature trails, walking, biking trails that they've developed, and it's a very nice natural area. So if you're ever coming southbound and you come down Douglas Avenue, that area is so pretty at almost any time of the year. When this gentleman presented his plan, he said, oh, and by the way, the easement right across from those ash hills isn't going to exist. We're going to be able to put our buildings and our light poles and our driveways pretty much right up against the roadway. Why? Because We Energies is across the street. I think if there has to be a development there, I think it should be done in the style of We Energies, where nobody sees anything. No light pollution, no water pollution, no nothing. Right now, Caledonia has made some very wise decisions in placing industrial buildings and parks and so on out near the interstate and in areas where it's easy to get back and forth for traffic for people who are doing this kind of business. It's not that easy on Douglas Avenue. It's a very crowded area, especially during traffic times. I don't know how they're going to get another load of people in and out of that area during traffic time without a lot of help from the people over here against the wall. I don't believe you should feel any pressure on you at all to make this rezoning. There's no reason for you to take action on it. You have the choice to leave it as it is. And I think that that's what would be best for Caledonia. This is absolutely the wrong place for industrial buildings of any kind. It's surrounded by non-industrial use, with the exception, of course, of our great big neighbor, We Energies. We Energies has protected their deal to us as much as they can with their screening. This doesn't call for that. I foresee asphalt, lights, driveways, industrial-looking cement buildings like the ones you see out by the interstate. Don't allow it. Don't feel pressured to make this change.
Thank you, Diana. David Payment. Evening, Dave. How are you doing? All right.
My name is David Payment, and my address is 7833 Botting Road. So, without saying, I guess I'm disappointed. My wife and I moved into a rural setting probably in '08. I went up to the village hall, which was on Nicholson at the time, talked to a gentleman named Frank, and I was assured that the community around me would be nothing more than 5-acre, single-family lots. So I guess I'm feeling a little bit betrayed. Finding out about this here also has surprised me because the little piece of paper that was rolled up was in the ditch. And, you know, I just happened to stumble on it. If it would have got wet, I just would have thrown it away. So I'm probably, that's not the point I'm trying to make here, but anyway, just a lot of disappointment with the way things are handled. So it's like deja vu with the We Energies buying all this property. We find out after it's already been done deal. So yeah, I can't. Also, the thing is you know, it looks like Botting Road's going to close. Was there any traffic studies done on how that's going to affect the neighborhood? Have you ever tried to take 7 Mile Road and turn north on 32? You take your life into your hands, just about. Yeah, it's terrible. So I don't know what your plans are for that. So I'm assuming that this place is going to have some city water and sewer. Oh, that's pretty close to my house. Is that going to be coming down Botting Road? I don't know that I'm going to. Yeah, well, Frank promised me that too.
Did he?
Yeah, you'll never see city water and sewer. So, and I am concerned. It's been mentioned before, but light pollution is another big thing. So parking lots and lights like that are going to be just
Right.
a distraction. So,
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Chris, I can't,
Leonard?
Leonard? Evening.
Hi, I'm Chris Leonard. I live at 3531 Partridge Terrace. Growing up in Caledonia, I normally never come to these things. I work in IT. I've been working in IT for 27 years now. I know a lot about data centers. I know what they bring, and it's not good for us. It's going to be great for We Energies and great for this gentleman's company, no offense, but it's going to create a lot of jobs, short-term construction, and then they're going to leave. And it's going to be an eyesore. And I think the reason they're putting in new power lines because do people realize the amount of energy that these servers that run AI models take? I don't think we do. So I'd like to keep Caledonia rural. There's plenty of other places around here. I just don't see it as being a good fit in Caledonia. We don't benefit from this. Just ask Amazon Web Services where they put everything else. I'm sure your client has to be one of those. Either it's Amazon, Microsoft, or Google, one of those big ones. We are currently in a bubble with tech right now, and it's about to burst. So this thing's going to get built, and then it's just going to be vacant. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Valerie Lancel. Hi, Val. We're all going to have to work on our penmanship a little bit.
I thought it was pretty good, but thank you. As he said, my name is Valerie Lancel, a resident of Caledonia since 2013. I'm here to speak out against the proposal to rezone 244 acres of farmland and open space for industrial use. Caledonia, as many have already said, is known for its rural character and natural beauty. This change would permanently replace open landscapes and agricultural land with industrial development, likely including an AI data center, which raises serious concerns. These centers consume enormous resources. One recent audit found that training a single large language model produced 20,000 metric tons of CO2 and used enough water to fill over 100 Olympic-sized swimming pools. That's just one data model. This is not sustainable and certainly not suitable for our village. Caledonia's lands support wildlife, protect groundwater, and offer vital ecosystem services we'd lose forever if we move forward. Once you convert farmland and green space to industry, you're never going to get it back. Long-term environmental consequences like increased runoff, strain on utilities, and habitat loss are not acceptable for our village. I'm also troubled by the process. The Special Review Committee advising on this issue was handpicked by our village board president, a move that raises real questions about impartiality and whether community voices are truly being represented.
Different subject.
I understand. Community members should all be from Caledonia, not Racine, not Milwaukee, not Kenosha. Changing our land use plan sets a precedent. If this corner of Caledonia is sacrificed today, what's to stop further industrial creep tomorrow? I urge the committee and the commission not to treat this decision as a mere zoning tweak. It's a fundamental shift in the soul of our village. I urge the commission to protect Caledonia's rural legacy and reject this proposal. Thank you for your time.
Well,
Thank you.
Ken Schmidt. Evening, Ken.
I am Ken Schmidt. I live on Botting, 7526. To add that to everybody else's concerns, I've been just watching the data center going up down in Mount Pleasant and the land that they've eaten up down there for about 8-9 years, and nothing's really getting done there. And I know a number of people that own property around there, and is the same thing going to happen that We Energies did to all these properties that were residential? Are they going to start buying up more property around and trying to just force everybody else out? So I just wanted to add that.
All right, thank you, sir. You have more? Barksdale? Barksdale? German?
Geraldine.
5147 Pine Tree? Evening. Good, how are you doing?
My name is Geraldine Barkdale, and I'm at 5147 Pine Tree Circle. I have not lived in Caledonia very long, just going over 3 years now, but we moved here because we definitely like how it's country. Close enough to everything we need, but we're still country. I support the Caledonia Conservancy. I'm on the Racine Garden Club as a board member, so I'm very much in support of keeping our natural habitat just that way natural. Mr. Biddingham, I hope that you're not going to be offended. I don't like to talk to people behind their back or about them behind their back, so I'll just say you're vice president of a company that basically the way you get paid is by being able to develop. And if that doesn't happen, that affects you personally. You don't live here in Wisconsin. I don't know what client you have. You've mentioned that you've had a client, but I didn't hear you say who this client is. I want to know how you can justify your business,
Please
your
address
personal
us.
gain.
Please address us.
His personal gain, I'm sorry, it just bothers me because
All right.
the personal gain will go to him and his client. It's not going to come to the rest of us who live here, and that will see the repercussions of it for years to follow. And I plan to stay here in Caledonia, and I want to enjoy it the way that it is. I don't know what the justification is that Caledonia even needs a data center. And on top of that, if there is some justification, as residents, are we allowed to see what that is prior to when this vote takes place? I don't know what this justification is. I haven't been provided with that. And then also something to keep in mind, there's actual evidence that the pollution from data centers increases the risk for cancer. And as a cancer survivor, I completely am against this plan.
Thank you. Martha? Hudzik?
Members of the Planning Commission, thank you. Elaine, I'm just wondering, is this public hearing for both parts of the agenda?
Yes.
So it's just one hearing? Okay, thanks. Martha Hudzik, 4502 Harvest Lane. I've been living here, and it's right off of Douglas Avenue, for 50-some years, since 1972. I just want to address the newspaper notice. It was really hard to figure out exactly where this is. So I think there'd be more people here if the newspaper notice was had more clarity. There weren't any addresses in the newspaper notice as there usually are. It was just like Douglas Avenue, Botting Road. Well, you know, specific ones. And I hope all the people that are in that area within 300 feet, if that's still the regulation, got notices about this. I have a lot of questions about this. I'm not sure what this new transitional zoning is. It appears that it was created to allow this development to occur. So maybe that can be explained a little bit better along the line. And it's nice that the developer is extending the public hearing time so more people can maybe get together in groups or something and find out more details about this. I don't know why this is not in our brand-new, beautiful industrial park by Highway K and V. I thought that was where we were gonna put all the industrial zoning or commercial or whatever. I don't see any reason to start up a new one over in a rural area with all the zoning that allows for residential. I know recently the Plan Commission has done some really high-density rezoning in our regular residential neighborhoods and increase the density. So, you know, why do that? Now you're taking away residential zoning. Doesn't make sense to me. The person mentioned unknowns. I don't know what that encompasses. He said there's many unknowns for this. One thing I'm thinking of is Foxconn. You know, oh yeah, we have to have this, and then it all fell apart. So once you do the zoning, you're kind of stuck. Conditional rezoning, is that the old-fashioned conditional use thing? So I don't really know what this is with conditional zoning. I used to be on the Planning Commission in the 70s, so I've been coming to these meetings for like 50 years. So, in conclusion, please be careful, and Planning Commission members, you are elected to represent the citizens, not any people who want to develop or start something new or try something new. So please keep that in mind. And I'm assuming you'll be very perseverant in making your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Jill Buckman? Evening, Jill.
My name's Jill Buckman. I live at 6508 Running Horse Road, right on the northwest corner, like 500 feet away from your development. So we're here because we care about our community, its health, its future, and the quality of life we currently enjoy. While we recognize data centers may be essential within our community, I don't believe they are, and I hope you vote that way. First, a lot of people have talked about resources. Data centers require a staggering amount of both electricity and water. The energy demand can put significant pressure on our local power grid, potentially raising our utility costs and causing reliabilities both for our homes and the businesses in the area. And someone mentioned the water usage. I looked this up, but they can use between 1 million and 5 gallons of water per day for cooling. So that's enough for thousands of homes. So in a time, we don't always recognize water scarcity here, but when a time when that's prevalent across the US, that seems irresponsible. Noise and appearance. So the facilities aren't silent. The constant hum of their cooling systems, fans, backup generators can disrupt the peace both day and night in our communities. And the economic impact, as Chris mentioned, it's going to bring a lot of short-term jobs here, but not the long-term jobs within the data center. And hopefully you'll consider the environmental risks. So even those claiming to use green energy still rely on backup diesel generators and resource-intensive materials. And all of those emit more harmful pollutants than we already have with our coal community.
Thank you.
So, thanks.
Marla Wishaw. Evening, Marla.
Marla Wishaw, 8345 Foley Road. I'm going to bring up something I brought up before about the zoning. All of these conditional zoning exceptions could be so easily solved if you just made a zoning category called, which has been done before. It was called an innovation and technology zoning. That would ensure that if this left in 15 years, we wouldn't have all sorts of other things going on there that we don't want. If this data center does go through, it would open doors for things that down the road could be horrible, worse. This village manager in Elk Grove in Illinois, they updated their zoning and they created within the redevelopment area, the new innovation and technology zoning district, and it specifically permits data centers and approved use and invites data centers to use these spaces. Within that, you wouldn't need all these special exceptions. That will be a nuisance to keep up with other things permitted within an M1 district. Also, on the land use plan of 2035 and of the one in 2050, it is called open space that's to be protected through proper zoning. And that is, I'm going to run over and show you. This area, right here. But there's a smidge of a piece of property there that could be zoned M1. I would like to see that whole thing lopped off and given conservation zoning, just to protect it for future use. Don't make it M1 with a designation, open space lands to be protected through proper zoning. That's what we have in our land use plan. We should zone it properly now while the opportunity presents itself. And I'm also concerned about the light pollution, the building sizes, and the walls and sound barriers that are around most of these buildings. So it isn't an eyesore from the road, as was spoken of before. And then keep in mind that the lifespan of these buildings isn't forever. So what will become of the land after? Could we put in there that if the data center were to leave, it would be then converted back or something in that manner? Thank you.
Thank you, Marla. Ryan Clements? Did I get it right? Cool.
Hello, I'm Ryan Clements. I'm at 4727 Bay Philly Lane. And I think basically everyone here has kind of hit on the main topics that I have concerns with. The light pollution, you know, the obvious eyesore that this place is going to be, the concerns with the massive amounts of resources that this place is going to use, how that's going to affect us, the traffic. But I think what kind of concerns me the most about this is essentially, I mean, yeah, we're here at this public hearing, but it's kind of the lack of say in what really happens here. There's no vote on this with us. I was advised as soon as I got this letter, I called Peter Wagner. I left him a couple voicemails, and he got back to me. He advised me that there's no Q&A. There's no real. We can't get a lot of these questions answered. How is this going to affect our home values? How is this going to affect our electricity bills? How is this going to affect, you know, our water supply? And then the craziest thing to me is I asked Mr. Wagner a very simple question. Would you want this in your backyard? And he couldn't answer it, which is pretty wild to me because all of us here are directly opposing this pretty easily. Yet the people here at the Village of Caledonia can't even answer a simple yes or no question. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy Mayer.
I also am just a little bit nervous, so. I literally live, that's my back door. If I took a step off of my property, I'd be on that property. I don't want it there. There's sandhill cranes, there's blue heron, there's red fox. We have a bald eagle nest on County Line Road now. How this affects our property. All the little animals there, the home builders, right. How is this going to affect our property values? I can't see it bringing it up. Our water, like I said, I'm a little bit nervous here, but I stand out on my front porch every single morning and I say, thank you, God, for putting me in this little piece of heaven between Racine and Milwaukee. It just didn't get any better than that. I have lived here over 70 years of my life, and I don't want that in my backyard, period.
For a lady that's nervous, you did a good job. Okay, Helen Knoll. Helen?
You can bring her a microphone.
We
can bring
you a mic.
We can bring you a microphone.
I'm concerned about, I noticed there's 3 ponds. ponds. I want to know, obviously you're planning on a lot of water being there. Are you going to use, where are you going to get all the water from, and where's the water all going? Now, we only have a
You
little.
need to use the microphone. It won't pick up the recording if you're not in the microphone.
Oh, we only have a little stream or river, right? Because I live at 6621 County Line Road, right on the edge of that. Where's that water going? It takes a lot. When the power plant came, we had to put up with all the water being coming off of the hills, all of the hills that they've got, you know, that stuff. Now, when this happens, and we almost got drowned out a couple times. You get the ice in the spring, and it's not melted, and then you get a lot of water all of a sudden with the spring thaws. That whole thing eventually ends up in a river. We end up with water all over. Sometimes some of the people can't even get to their houses on County Line. Where is all this water going? I see you had 3 ponds there. So obviously, there's going to be a problem with water. One time we had 10 inches of rain. That water came right up to our back door on County Line Road. Everybody had problems. You almost had to use a boat to get to your house. We had fish jumping in our backyard. It was totally flooded. My concern is what problems, and no matter what the village says, hands change. Hands change. We were told when we built there, now I've been there for over 60 years, we were told that the village was going to take care of cleaning this creek out, this river right behind us. It never happened. Every time the new people got in, well, I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it. I'm not responsible for it. So what you say now, in 10 years, may be totally different.
Before you walk away, we did not get your name and address on the.
I'm sorry, Helen, and last name is Knoll, Knoll.
And address?
6621 County Line Road.
Thank you very much.
As a matter of fact, we used to call that's Schneider Swamp. So I don't know where the water's going to go. Our family's been here for, well, since it was a dirt road. Since 32 was a dirt road. So very concerned about the water.
Very good. Thank you. So that concludes the written list. Mr. Wishaw, did you want to add something? Can you? Yes, you can.
Mr. President, you still have Wendy McKelvey that was also the
Oh,
first
yeah,
one
I'll
on
go
the
back to
list.
Wendy, okay. So,
Wendy
no,
first?
go ahead. No.
I wasn't planning on speaking, but I want to address a couple things. Just so you,
State your name.
Lee Wishaw, 8345 Foley Road. Sorry, I know the rules, but I broke them. Just so you're aware, I'm a member of the board, have been for 20 years. And when this was proposed to us, I can't talk too much about it back when it was proposed to us, but I want to address one of the issues that came up here tonight. My feeling is the appropriate place for this is in an existing TIF district that is slowly developing that needs a boost. Just so you're aware, in our budget, we are subsidizing our TIF districts to the tune of $1 million a year because they are not developed, they are not producing the income yet at this point that we need it to be in positive territory. So my feeling is put this in the TIF district. We've got a development going in the South Hills Golf Course area that could use this, could use it very desperately. So in full disclosure, I do own property that abuts this development. But either way, if I live there or if I didn't live there, to me, the appropriate place for this is in an existing TIF district and a industrial park. Having said all of that, I'm afraid the votes won't be there to stop this. That's just my gut, but I'm reading the tea leaves so far, and I think it's going to be difficult to stop this. So I'm going to ask the developer tonight, please, whatever you do, look at some of the complaints that are online in existing data centers. One of them is noise. These things require all sorts of air conditioning. People complain about that all the time, the noise that those make. So I was happy to see that you had buffer zones here.
please make this as innocuous as possible, get the noise and the away from the residents in the area as far as possible. That's all I'm going to say. I still think it belongs in the industrial district and not here. So, thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Sorry, Wendy McKelvey, 4825 Richmond Drive. I was on the board a while back, and I can remember back before the turn of the century.
Whoa, you're not.
Oh, yeah.
Careful, Wendy.
Sorry about that. When Botting Road was an issue with the idea of sewer and water coming in. And, you know, the rural character being taken away that way. So we did fight that, and I actually got a petition signed from 6 Mile up to 7 Mile against extension of the sewer there and out to the Red River. And that still isn't a sewered area, it's considered rural. Okay, aside from that, I'm afraid of creep here. I can see why they might want to do this in this spot because of the power sources right there. There's water source right there. But I agree with the Wishaws that it should go in an area that's already industrial. I'm really worried. If you have an industrial area there, then you get creep. Maybe not more industrial, but it's not a place where people want to have their rural homes. And I just think it's spot zoning. And Marla fascinates me with her idea of having a separate zoning category, so you don't need all these exceptions and special conditions and so on. Have a separate zoning category that people can look at ahead of time and know what's allowed and what isn't, and not have to study every individual project that comes up. I really like that, Marla. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Come on up and name and address, please.
Andrew Hendricks,
I'm sorry,
5644.
can you say those were, or actually, when you're done, can you just come and write your name down? for me,
Sure.
please?
Sure. I
So
can do
I
that.
dig your shirt, man. It's pretty cool.
Thanks. 5644 Acorn Trail. It was my father's home. It's my home. Now I'm raising my daughter there. I'm very happy to be there. I would like to stay there and keep it the way it is. Most of my environmental concerns have been addressed by everyone, namely the voracious amount of water that these things consume and how it affects the wells and underground water tables. One thing I didn't catch from Mr. Brittingham's presentation was what the positive is of putting it here. All I really took away, no offense, was we want to put this thing here and it's okay because there's a power plant nearby. What does this offer? I haven't even heard anything about, oh, it's going to give more tax revenue. I got nothing. Just we want to put this here, and there's a power plant. So what do you think? I think I don't like it. That's what I got for you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to add anything? I see a hand back there. Hi. And I didn't see you over the crowd. So.
I'm little. I'll represent the younger people moving in because there's a lot of older people here.
Name and address. Name and
Tiffany Hammond, 8937 Foley Road.
Thank you.
So if you guys are waiting for the older people to die off, the younger people are not going to put up with it. I work in construction, so I take plenty of these beautiful farm fields and I turn them into ugly industrial parks or stupid residentials, all that. We don't want that here. We've never wanted it here. We're never going to want it here. So, I mean, everybody's already talked about all the concerns that we have, but it's just flat out, we don't want it here. No matter what words you want to twist to try and appease you guys to vote yes for it, that's all it is. It's just words. They're going to do whatever they want. We've seen it. We've done it as a construction company. And yeah, the younger people don't want to put up with it here. We moved here because we don't want to live in an industrial park. If we wanted to live in an industrial park, I'd go live in Pleasant Prairie. But that's not where we live.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is John. I live on 6400 Running Horse Road.
You have a last name, John?
Pintar, Pintar. I've grown up here my entire life. I've always enjoyed this area. One of the biggest things I think we all love in this community is being able to look in our backyards and being able to enjoy the wildlife off the back porch. We have turkeys, deer, all types of wildlife that we like to enjoy. What is going to happen to the area when all that construction begins? I feel like people have spoken about the soul of the county here. What's going to happen to that when the wildlife starts to get pushed out? Another one of my biggest concerns is the domino effect that this is going to have. Once this gets put in, what's going to stop more people from wanting to come in, putting in high-rise condos, everything like that? My father grew up in Oak Creek. He always tells me when he was a kid how beautiful it was and how it's just become completely unrecognizable now. I'd like to stay in this area, and when I have children, I want to be able to continue to show them how beautiful it is, not tell them what it used to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Going once? Twice? Okay, Rich, do you want to make closing statements before we move on? Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
Thank you.
I genuinely do want to thank everyone who showed up tonight and spoke. No offense taken. Several of you said no offense, and truly, there's no offense taken. I appreciate all of your opinions, and I thank you for your comments. I did want to touch on just a few of the kind of common themes, and I don't know that I'm even able to get into too much detail because, as I mentioned, one of the comments was specifically, hey, Mr. Brittingham commented that there's a lot of unknowns. The unknowns I was speaking to is actually the physical land plan. What you see here is an illustrative version of something that could occur. So when I was talking about unknowns, it wasn't anything more than we want to hear from you about where could we make this project better, and we heard a lot of things, and that's going to influence what that land plan becomes if this is a successful project, and that's why I say there's a lot of unknowns. So a few things to touch on very briefly. There's a lot of comments about the environmental impacts, wetlands, stormwater, et cetera. Those are all governed by Army Corps of Engineers, WDNR, and there's code restrictions and requirements. And I know that often doesn't feel as good, but in many instances in development, things are improved. You know, there was talks about flooding on adjacent properties and runoff, and there's code requirements as to how those things must be met and standards that must be met. So if there's problem areas, sometimes there's improvements that come from development where we're able to control that water, treat that water, make that water that's flowing into your natural creeks, have it treated for quality and quantity outfalls. Second, there was a lot of comments on noise, lighting, architectural standards. I believe the village is in the process of drafting some development standards for the zoning ordinance. That's another big reason why we don't have a concept plan that shows buildings, access, internal circulation, buffering. We're waiting to work with the village, should this project be approved and move forward, with their zoning ordinance development standards so that we can hit all of those requirements, the minimums and maximums for light, noise, vibration, et cetera, so that we can minimize any impacts on adjacent properties, because we hear your concerns and the village is taking the steps to codify and set regulations for those standards. There were some comments about the success with We Energy, so you can't see those buildings. I know it's hard to tell by the scale here, but that's what we're really attempting to do with some of those setbacks, right? Tuck any development envelopes into the interior of the property. 500 feet is ample land to create berming, landscaping, densities to provide screening, both visually, for sound, et cetera. And so those are the things that we want to take backwards after hearing these comments, revise the land plan, and figure out where we can make some tweaks to improve what we started with here with our first draft. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Just a brief note on water. The data centers of 5-10 years ago admittedly used a ton of water. The entire industry has shifted to an entirely different cooling system. It's a closed loop liquid cooling system. The only water usage that data centers almost across the board use is just for domestic uses, kitchens, bathrooms, et cetera, the same as a residence, the same as an office building, et cetera. So the water usages that used to be, the water usages that you hear about are from the old technology, and the industry has adapted because that is not a sustainable, it's not the good partners that they want to be. So the water usage is negligible. It's equivalent to any kind of office or non-residential use. I think that's just the quick notes, and I know that doesn't, again, give a lot of detail. I truly do appreciate the comments and the opinions of the public. We're going to take that back with my team and, hear from the Plan Commission. We haven't heard their thoughts yet, and work towards those development conditions that could include many of the comments and opinions that we heard here tonight, and work forward to see what's possible.
So
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And based on that, and based on your prior suggestion, we will hold the public meeting open until the 24th. Elaine, did you want to add?
Yes, it would be appropriate if the Plan Commission was so inclined to pass a motion to adjourn the public hearing to August 25th, 2025 on these two items for the limited scope of receiving input on the draft proposed conditions and any proposed deed restrictions from the applicant. Before you were to do that, if the Plan Commission had any specific questions for the applicant, now would also be a time for you to do that as well.
Nancy, do you have a-
Of course. I appreciate the information, and one thing I know Dale's going to get me. Yeah. One thing for everyone who's out there, someone made the comment about all elected officials. Only Tom and I are elected officials up here. Everyone else who serves on planning serves as a volunteer. So just so you're aware that not all of us are elected. They're helping on their own. The issues on water, I have done some of the reading on the closed circulation, so I understand that piece, and that any water that is utilized will go into the normal processing down through the wastewater center, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So this land is primarily land that We Energies bought because of the previous problems that they experienced over there, correct?
I can't speak to why We Energies purchased the property.
But it's from We Energies.
We Energies is the majority owner of the
Majority
assemblage.
owner on it. That's fine. So the question of contamination has come up a couple of times. Would the type of building you're talking about building have below ground storage or anything, or would it be more of a slab type process where it would be on top of any land?
It ultimately depends on the type of facility that's constructed. I mean, inherently, there's going to be some type of pilings or structural foundation that's in the subsurface. But again, that kind of impacts are regulated, right? So we have to do full phase one ESA studies and understand what is in the soils. Where is there any contamination? How does that have to be remediated? So there's regulations and processes that are governed by other agencies for all of that. So I am not an expert into what previous contamination implications may be there, or what's there, what's not there, what are the previous remediation efforts, et cetera. But there is an entire process that you need to go through when you're going after permits and studies environmentally through WDNR in order to obtain those permits.
Thank you. Elaine, I guess my question for you is, one question we had asked is what would be a value of this into the village? Can we speak to that tonight or not?
Well, if you have a specific question about the positives of the
Right.
development, I think you certainly could ask that of the applicant, recognizing that it is a land use decision.
Right.
But if there is a question that you have about the positives, maybe the applicant would feel comfortable speaking to that. Maybe he wouldn't. I don't know.
I don't think I can ask you that directly because it is a land use plan, but I do want to make it clear that we've heard that question. So in the future, maybe we'll get to that. I think that's it for me.
Anybody else? Again, we're going to make a motion to adjourn this, but reopen it. We're done with public comment. Thank you. We're done with public comment. Thank you. So we will bring this back on August 24, we'll.
25th.
25th, sorry. We'll make it a public hearing again, so you'll have another chance to talk at that meeting.
Elaine, do you want a motion to that?
Yes, the recommended motion would be to move to adjourn the public hearing to August 25th, 2025 on these two items for the limited scope of receiving input on the draft proposed conditions that were part of the packet and any proposed deed restrictions from the applicant. That would be the proposed motion. And then to answer the question, yes, the village is going to send out notices to the property owners that they notified before, which I believe was 800, within 800 feet. So it was about 2.5 times the normal notification area. And then that would be also noticed to the paper as well.
And it's on our website.
And it will be on the website, yes.
Yep, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm going to, I have a nice motion written, but Elaine just made it 5 times longer and I need to tell her what she don't know.
Yeah. Thing of business, we're back in session.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Put that microphone in front of your mouth. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Thank you.
We're 6A, Special Comprehensive Plan Committee appointments. Approve appointments to a Special Comprehensive Plan Committee for the purpose of assisting with the development and review of and recommendation updates to the village comp plan. This committee will serve in as advisory capacity to the planning commission. I'd like to continue that with a motion. I will make the motion. Our current comprehensive plan is now 20 years old. Pete, you got it with you? Wave it, wave it. Look how big that book is. That's a Racine County comp plan, not a Caledonia comp plan.
Sewer pack special.
Sewer pack special, yeah. As Caledonia continues to grow, we need our own plan reflective of our citizens' needs and wants. To that end, we are establishing a working committee under the Planning Commission to review the comprehensive plan and provide direction to the Planning Commission. We feel this working committee will need 18 to 24 months to complete this task. At the conclusion of their work, the Planning Commission will review their work and then make recommendations to the village board, culminating in our own comprehensive plan. In putting this list of citizens together for a review of our comprehensive plan, I asked the village trustees to nominate candidates. Those nominees, combined with people who learned about the committee in one way or another and contacted me, and my own nominees were over 40 people. They were contacted either by text and or email and or voicemail and just good old phone calls. I actually felt that if one could not reply to a text or an email, they were automatically eliminated because this is how this group will be notified and contacted. Some nominees never replied. Some nominees declined as for many different reasons, but mainly they said they did not have enough time to commit. Some nominees were surprised they were nominated. Apparently their nominators never told them or asked them. A few nominees were given to me without contact information. I tried to find all of them, but I admit a couple went unfound. Dale Stillman wanted farmers to be contacted. I contacted several farmers in the area, pretty much to a person. They all said the same thing, and I paraphrase, I don't give an F with my property as long as you don't F with me. So, however, Mr. Prohaska called back a couple days later, remorseful, and said, I'd love to be on the committee. So I put him on there. One of our trustees felt we needed a competency criteria for selection, suggesting trustees nominated incompetent people. Okay, this was a lengthy task. I learned a lot from our citizens, about what they think about Caledonia and what they think of the management of Caledonia. Therefore, I'm going to make a motion to nominate the slate of individuals that are in your report and to move forward. And if I can have a second on that nomination, I'd appreciate it.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Well, of course there is, since I'm the incompetent trustee.
Go ahead.
I did nominate people. Some of them are sitting here. They were not contacted. The question of incompetence did not exist. It was competency in the areas that the state lists of what we are supposed to cover. My question simply was I recognized 4 of these names and asking who are these people? Because I've been on planning almost 5 years. I've never heard of most of these people, never seen them. So this is kind of an important thing. Marla is the only one on your list who represents the open space or rural area. I recognize that Mr. Prohaska recognizes or represents farming. Mr. Christensen is a businessman in this area, but he represents primarily mid-sized to semi-larger business. I don't know that he represents anything smaller, nor am I aware of any of the others that represent it. Mr. Moore, who is on here, is a member of this committee, and yet the other member of this committee who asked to be on it is not on here. I think we have asked in the past for people to fill out applications of why they want to be involved in something as a volunteer for this committee. You refuse to do that. I think that's important for the committee as a whole. You do have the power to appoint.
I'm sorry, you're done.
Of course.
Anything else? Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick, Tom. I think that,
Go ahead.
All right, thanks. I know a decent amount of the people on here. I've only lived in, Caledonia since 2018. Marla may or may not remember this, but she knew my dad pretty well, and she was actually the report that I had when I was a college student cutting grass a long time ago when she worked out at the DPW building. So I haven't known her like really well aside from that, but she had given me a job when I was in a real pinch going back to grad school because 2008 wasn't a very good time to look for a job, and she graciously found me something to do because that was the whole reason I went to UWM was because I had a job with my college degree lined up. So I'll forever be thankful to Marla for that. But anyway, Lee probably remembers me partially when Pete's job was open. I was one of the finalists for that job several years ago as well. He's not on the committee, but just as a side note. But Kim Hood, I've known for a while. She's a very good realtor. I think would represent that interest. I worked with her, and I've known several people who've worked with her as well. Laura Millian I know very well from my time in my day job at the City of Racine doing work for economic development and things of that nature. So I can't certainly personally vouch for everybody. It sounds like there's representation of rural development, which I know has been a concern through public comment in the past. To be honest, I pretty much go to work every day. I don't know a ton of people. I know the people on this commission and a few people in the audience today by happenstance. So I'm not a very good barometer of everybody on the list, certainly, but 3 or 4 of the names I certainly am familiar with, so would definitely vouch for them. Not that we're going to do it on an individual basis, but I'm going to trust Tom's expertise as the elected official, the top elected official for the village, that is representative of the folks who live here. But I will speak for the names that I know, and I think they would be very good on this particular setting, and I'm pleased that there is a plan commission member. I like this type of thing. I do it for a living during my day job, but I did not submit my name for consideration because, in all honesty, I have time for this, but I probably don't have time to do this and that. So I think Mr. Moore would do a great job at that, and his expertise from this commission would be well represented on a group of this nature.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
And I just want to be clear. So this committee, right, is not the full public outreach committee. So there'll be public outreach for the whole village for the comp plan. Is that correct?
This is a working committee, so there will be no public comment at that committee.
committee,
But they can
but-
come to the planning commission and.
So in theory, the whole village has an opportunity to put input on this comprehensive plan. It's
absolutely
just
correct.
that this is the committee that we'll use to help progress this forward.
Right. And so our hope is that this mile-thick book will become a
We have one of
Caledonia-only
those.
plan. Yeah, okay, I'm sure you have one too.
Yeah, we do.
So we don't, I don't, personally, I don't know if anything will change in there or not, but that's what this committee is for, to review. But that book is countywide, and we need to have a Caledonia only one. And so
Agreed.
that's the goal. Okay.
Agreed.
Thank you. Any other, Pete?
I just want to add on to the comments Michelle had, and that we do have a public participation plan that's going to be adopted by the board in the future, and we have outlined different stakeholder groups, visioning workshops, survey. We plan on doing some pop-up events. Two that we have tentative is Milliger's Farmers Market, as well as the Franksville Beer Garden. We utilize those places on other planning efforts, and so we're going to do that reach out. So we do have different stakeholders that will provide input or opinions regarding the formation of this plan. That'll be given to Sewer PAC, that the review committee will take a look at the information that has been gathered by staff and the consultant, and with the update to the Caledonia Village of Caledonia comp plan, and not the countywide one. So there are going to be opportunities for other stakeholders who may not be on this committee, but there'll be other opportunities over the next year and a half, even all the way to the very end. We have a public hearing that's scheduled at the very end of this process. So at the beginning, middle, and end, there's going to be public engagement throughout the process. And that's a very much key effort that the Smart Growth Law talks about. And so working our department with the consultant will have that opportunities for others to speak, even if they're not on the working review committee.
Thank you. Anything else? Well,
I'm fine.
Can we do a roll call vote, please?
President Weatherston.
Yes.
Pierce. Trustee Pierce.
Oh, no.
Michael Moore.
Yes.
Michelle Cook.
Yes.
And Jeff Hibbs.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. And Michelle, thank you for showing up. Your kids are beautiful. Are those your kids? Well, so we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.